Hello, fifth graders, and welcome to a read aloud of today's science ebook titled Taking Action to Help the Environment. As needed for today's science lesson, Unit 4, Lesson 15, Protecting Earth. What challenges face Earth, and how can people take action to conserve resources and protect the environment? Let's read to find out. Read pages 4 through 29 today in the ebook. The environment and the Sustainable Development Goals. The environment is the natural world in which plants, animals, and people live. Earth's many ecosystems show how they all connect. Even the smallest change ripples through a community of living things. The prairies of North America are a grassland ecosystem. As they settled on the land, farmers brought farm animals with them. When farm animals started grazing there, they damaged the plants. This affected the food supply for grassland animals. Farming and many other human activities have a huge impact on ecosystems and the environment. Get to know the issue of the Great Barrier Reef. Coral reefs are marine ecosystems. 1/4 of ocean plants and animals live in them. Australia's Great Barrier Reef is Earth's largest coral reef. It is 3,000 times bigger than Disney World in Florida. More than 1,500 species of plants and animals live there, and close to 2 million people visit the Great Barrier Reef each year. More than 60,000 people have jobs that depend on it. They work in a wide variety of areas, including tourism, fishing, and science. The Great Barrier Reef and everything that depends on it are in danger. Rising water temperatures and pollution are major threats. One of the many harmful effects is coral bleaching. It can kill coral, which leads to habitat loss for other marine life. High water temperatures wiped out about 1/3 of this reef in 2016. Half of it is now dead. National Geographic compared the event to a forest fire. People are taking action to save the reef that remains. For example, some groups are trying to improve the water quality. Others aim to protect local wildlife or restore bleached coral. The United Nations. The Great Barrier Reef is just one of many ecosystems that need help. Protecting the environment is one of the missions of the United Nations, or UN. Its members are from 193 countries. Sustainable development is at the heart of their global efforts. This kind of development meets today's needs without harming the ability to meet the needs of the future. 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In September 2015, more than 150 international leaders met at the UN's headquarters in New York City. They approved an action to help people around the world thrive, and also looks after the planet for future generations. They called it the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. By that year, it aims to improve people's lives through the better jobs, healthcare, and education, end poverty, increase economic growth, and reduce climate change and protect people from its impact. Social inequality. The UN is also trying to reduce social inequality. This can happen when some people have fewer opportunities and less power and money than others. They are more at risk when an unplanned event, such as a natural disaster, occurs. Vulnerable people, including children, and the elderly, pregnant women, people who are ill, and those living in poverty. Everyone feels the impacts of environmental issues. However, social inequality places vulnerable people in greater danger. An unfair world. Outdoor air pollution is one example of social inequality. More than half of it is created by the richest 10% of the world's population. For example, they may often travel by airplane, which causes a lot of pollution. Outdoor air pollution causes health problems, such as lung cancer, and kills more than 3 million people each year. People living in poverty are most at risk of dying because of it. Wealthier people can usually avoid living in places with the highest pollution levels. Look at your community. Who lives closest to the factories, highways, and dumps? It's typically going to be people in poverty. Goals that work together. The UN's 2030 Agenda focuses on 17 Sustainable Development Goals. They were launched on January 1st, 2016. Each goal fits together with the other goals. For example, taking care of the environment helps promote things like good health and clean water. To be sustainable, the SDGs balance economic growth, the environment, and social issues. This book focuses on how goals 7, 13, 14, and 15 help the environment. To see how these goals fit together and shape a better world, flip to page 14. Dreamwork, Teamwork makes the dream work. People around the planet are collaborating or working together to reach the goals. Youth play a big part in hitting the UN's goals. When you are an adult in 2030, what kind of world do you want to live in? You can play a role in shaping the future. Environmental challenges. Earth's climate changes naturally over time. In the past, these long-term weather patterns shifted very slowly. Human actions over the past 2 centuries sped up these changes. They also became more hazardous or dangerous. Today's climate change includes higher temperatures, rising global sea level, decreasing sea ice, and more extreme weather. These have major impacts on living things worldwide. Global warming. The rising temperature of Earth's atmosphere is called global warming. The release of carbon dioxide and other gases are mostly to blame. They are known as greenhouse gases. Emissions of these gases trap heat in the atmosphere. Burning fossil fuels, such as coal, gas, and oil, is the main source of greenhouse gases. China gives off more emissions than any other country. However, Americans and Canadians give off the highest emissions per person. If action is not taken, the global temperature will continue to rise. It could go up by 2.7 degrees Fahrenheit, or 1.5 degrees Celsius, or more in the next decade or two. That is enough to destroy or harm many ecosystems and living things. Rising sea level. Global warming melts land-based ice such as glaciers and ice sheets. The water flows into the oceans. This raises the sea level. Higher temperatures also affect the sea level. Warm ocean water takes up more space than cool water does. From 1901 to 2010, the average global sea level rose by 7.5 inches, or 19 centimeters. It could rise up to 30 inches, or 76 centimeters or more, by 2100. This would flood coastal cities, from India's Mumbai to New York City. Millions of people might lose their homes and ways of life. Melting sea ice. Every summer, some of the ice on the Arctic and Antarctic oceans melts. It freezes again when winter arrives. The thickest ice does not melt completely. It is called multi-year ice and is more common in the Arctic, that being up north. This sea ice is a habitat for animals such as polar bears and seals. In the past, multi-year ice made up about half of the ice in the Arctic Ocean. About 95% of it has disappeared since 1985. This polar region could be completely ice-free for part of the year by 2100, or sooner. Without a permanent ice cover, the dark ocean water absorbs more sunlight. This causes even more ice to melt and raises global temperatures. Dangerous weather. Extreme weather events, such as droughts and floods, are severe and hard to predict. They are becoming more common because of climate change. These events are more destructive than ever. For example, Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico in 2017. The next year, a heat wave broke records around the world. More than 1 million people in Malawi, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe, those being countries in Africa, were affected by flooding after Cyclone Idai in 2019. Vulnerable people have the most difficult time bouncing back when extreme weather hits. Impacts on oceans. Earth's oceans make the planet livable for humans. They have a huge impact on the global climate and weather cycle. They also hold food sources, biofuels, and medicines. More than 1 billion people depend on ocean-based foods, and millions of people have jobs in marine industries. But these industries, as well as other human activities, cause many problems. Overfishing and water pollution are major issues. Carbon dioxide also harms the oceans. The water absorbs the emissions, which causes it to become more acidic. Ocean acidity hurts marine life, harming ecosystems and depleting human food sources. For example, shelled animals, such as oysters, cannot form properly. Acidity has gone up about 26% with the rise of industries. Changes in coastal ecosystems also cause issues during extreme weather. Coastal areas provide natural barriers against storm damage. Without them, extreme weather may cause more harm. Deforestation. More than 1/3 of Earth's land is covered in diverse forests, from rainforests to boreal forests. Wooded areas are habitats for 80% of land-based plants and animals. They also provide food, homes, and livelihoods for some indigenous populations. Forests are in big trouble worldwide. Deforestation is a big issue. more than 30 million acres, or 12 million hectares, of woodlands are cut down each year. Trees help prevent global warming by absorbing carbon dioxide. Without them, more gases go into Earth's atmosphere. Damaged land. Deforestation can damage the soil, meaning that it is less able to grow plants. This is called land degradation. Pollution, farming, and extreme weather such as drought also cause it. In some cases, desertification occurs. This turns land into a sandy desert. Because of desertification, the Sahara Desert has grown by about 10% in the last century. Land degradation affects many poor people worldwide. More than half of the land used by farmers has been spoiled. Loss of life. Threats such as deforestation and land degradation lead to the loss of many kinds of plants and animals. About 8% of known animal species are already extinct. More than 20% are now at risk for extinction. Many at-risk animals are illegally hunted and sold. This issue affects humans too. For example, 75% of major medicines come from plants. Species could disappear from the planet without us ever knowing how they could have helped people. Energy effects. Why have people done things that harm the environment? At first, we did not know better. As scientists study Earth, we learn more about how we can help it or hurt it. For example, our energy sources have had a big impact. Burning fossil fuels is the main cause of the current climate change crisis. We now know they make up more than half of greenhouse gases. The UN's goal is to cut worldwide emissions by 45% by the year 2030. They hope to end emissions completely by 2050. The solution lies in switching to clean, renewable energy sources that do not pollute or run out. Solar, water, or wind power are all good options. Energy must also be affordable and available to all people. This is the best way to stop global warming, and it helps meet many other goals. So those are examples of solar panels and wind turbines. Examples of clean, renewable energy. Targeting environmental issues. Environmental issues affect everyone, but poor and vulnerable people are usually hit the hardest. Making sure no one is left behind is a core mission of the SDGs. Helping the environment plays a huge part in building a world in which people are equal. The SDGs that focus on climate, life on land and in the oceans, and energy all fit together. They also relate to other goals. Goals 3 and 15 connect because plant-based medicines can help achieve good health. Land degradation, Goal 15, must be stopped to end hunger, since farmers need good soil to grow food, Goal 2. Achieving the UN's environmental goals helps reach other goals too. Goals to help the environment. The Sustainable Development Goals fit together to form an action plan. Each of the 17 goals has its own targets. They focus on the main causes of the issue. A goal is achieved when its targets are hit, or all of its targets are hit. Within each target are one or more indicators. They are measurable ways to track if progress is being made. Each connected part comes together like a blueprint. Affordable and clean energy. About 1 billion people around the world cannot access electricity. It is needed to meet basic needs, such as refrigerating food and medicine, or running a water pump. Without electricity, they must burn coal and wood to cook and heat their homes. The smoke can make them seriously ill. African countries are the most affected by the lack of clean energy. The targets of this SDG fight these inequalities. One aims to increase the amount of renewable energy used worldwide. It is measured by the amount of renewable power used compared to other, less modern sources. Another target aims to improve global collaboration and investment that relates to research, technology, and clean energy systems. Its progress will be shown by an increase in the amount of money spent on these programs. Challenges to overcome. Burning coal is the greatest source of carbon dioxide emissions. Despite the clear link between fossil fuels and global warming, people are burning more coal than ever before. There are also millions more gasoline-burning cars on the road each year, creating more emissions. That is because transportation needs are growing along with the world's population. Providing affordable and clean energy in developing countries and war zones is especially difficult. Climate action. Tackling climate change is a big task. We need to do all we can to stop global warming, the rising sea level, melting sea ice, and worsening extreme weather. A key target is making sure every country is fighting climate change. The first step and a major indicator is whether they have a national plan. We also need to raise awareness of climate change and how to reduce it. This can be measured in part by the number of countries that are educating their citizens about climate change. Another target is for UN members to donate to the Green Climate Fund. This fund helps developing countries address climate change. The hope is that $100 billion will be given each year by 2020. Challenges to overcome. Most climate change issues are getting worse instead of better. Weather patterns keep changing. Extreme weather events can throw people into poverty without warning. They hurt the local economy, cause hunger, and damage people's health and well-being. Greenhouse gas emissions are at their highest level ever. Most of the Arctic's multi-year sea ice is gone. Some areas of the planet are already threatened by the rising sea level. Caribbean islands are losing coastlines, for example. 1/4 of St. Kitts and Nevis are already underwater. Life below water. A simple way to help life below water is to stop polluting. Preventing and reducing water pollution is a target the UN wants to meet by 2025. Seeing how much plastic trash is in the oceans is one indicator. Another big target is lowering and repairing ocean acidification. Progress will be measured by how acidic the water is. Controlling fishing and ending overfishing will also help marine life. Numbers of fish will show if this target is met. The UN also aims to protect at least 10% of the world's coastal and marine areas. Counting the number of protected areas is a key indicator. Challenges to overcome. A major challenge with Goal 14 is getting people to care about it. When asked, many leaders thought it was the least important SDG. This is despite the fact that huge patches of garbage swirl around in the world's oceans. Trash extends from the surface down to the depths, threatening marine animals. Living things in oceans are also in danger if acidification continues. It is important to educate ourselves and others on how ocean health affects all life on Earth. So SDG number 15 is about protecting life on land. A lot needs to be done around the world to help life on land. One huge target focuses on forests. It includes managing them well, stopping deforestation, helping damaged forests, and planting new trees. The UN's goal is to see progress being made in all these areas by 2020. It also wants to fight desertification, restore damaged land, and make land use sustainable. Progress will be made if the amounts of degraded land decrease. Another target looks after protected plants and animals by stopping the theft and sale of them. Counting the amounts of wildlife that is sold illegally shows if this is being achieved. Challenges to overcome. Deforestation and land degradation harm Earth's air quality, animal habitats, and food sources. Over 2.5 billion people depend on farming to survive. They need healthy soil on which to grow crops and raise animals. However, degradation has spoiled over half of the world's farmland. This issue needs to be addressed to avoid global hunger. Youth for Change. When Janine Lecaire was 9 years old, she and a friend, Aislinn Livingstone, wanted to save their local rainforest in Costa Rica. They also wanted to help the animals living in it. The girls raised money by making and selling bracelets and other crafts. Janine's mom helped them buy 4 acres of rainforest. Over time, it became an 82-acre wildlife rescue center. The organization has spread to 18 other countries. It collaborates with other groups to help with reforestation and animal protection. Goals for good. Meeting the targets for one goal helps us work towards others. For example, one of the targets of climate action, Goal 13, is helping people affected by natural and climate-related disasters. Making plans to reduce the risks is a big part of this. If successful, it will also help with the global goals that focus on vulnerable people, such as no poverty, Goal number 1, and good health and well-being, Goal number 3. Each one of these goals must be met to create a sustainable world. Every effort has a wider impact. Global collaboration. We need worldwide efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Leaders agreeing to them at the UN was just the beginning. Everyone must collaborate to put these plans into action. Youth can take the lead. They are our future change makers and innovators. Better together. Most people and groups have their own special interests or areas of focus. Great things happen. Great things can happen when they work together. They can share ideas and points of view. Collaborators can also put their resources together. This means more skills, knowledge, tools, time, and money are available. They can accomplish much more together than they could working on their own. A big team. All member nations of the UN are working together to meet the SDGs. This includes the poorest to the wealthiest nations on Earth. Each country also has its own plans related to the commitments it has made. They need widespread participation to be successful. All of us, from kids to schools to leaders at all levels of government, need to do our part. Civil society organizations, or CSOs, bring people together with a shared interest in helping the public. They do not make a profit and are not run by governments. Businesses also play an important role in achieving the SDGs. Partners for Progress. Youth Climate Lab is a great example of collaboration. It brings together students, CSOs, businesses, and governments. This youth-centered network has started in 2017. Recent university graduates Dominique Soros and Ana Gonzalez Guerrero wanted to help get young people involved in environmental policy and projects. Youth Climate Lab has become a hub of creative ideas and innovation. Its 2030 Lab series engaged youth in learning about the SDGs. They thought of creative policy recommendations, research solutions, and shared ideas. Another one of its projects is Greenpreneurs. It's a partnership with Global Green Growth Institute and Student Energy that brings together teams of young innovators. They help develop their energy, water, forestry, farming, and green city ideas. What are people doing? There's no time to waste in working toward the Sustainable Development Goals. Global citizens are already tackling many environmental issues. Global citizens are people who understand how world issues affect us all. They collaborate with others in their communities and around the globe. Every effort gets us closer to meeting the goals. They also help create a fairer, more sustainable world. Youth for Change. When Greta Thunberg was 15 years old, she started skipping school on Fridays. She headed to the Swedish government buildings with a sign. It read, Skolstrejk för klimatet. School strike for climate. Students around the world followed her lead. More than 1 million youth strikers have demanded climate action. Thanks to Greta, global leaders are paying attention to the demands of these young people. So some days to mark on your calendar. April 22nd is Earth Day. May 17th is Endangered Species Day. June 8th is World Oceans Day, and December 14th is World Energy Conservation Day. Year-round help. You do not have to wait until a specific day to take action. There are many ways to get involved throughout the year. Projects such as Plant for the Planet's Trillion Tree campaign and many others present creative solutions. There's something for every age, interest, and skill level. For example, the Zero Waste movement encourages people to create as little garbage as possible. Individuals, groups, and communities around the world have taken up the challenge. They might buy products that come without packaging, or they could choose foods and items that will get used up. Sometimes, collecting information is the first step in meeting a goal. Earth Challenge 2020 is a collaboration in which people from around the world answer 6 questions. The topics range from plastic waste to local air quality. This data helps them plan and carry out ways to help the environment. Social entrepreneurs. Young changemakers can start their own businesses that can also help solve social issues. These social enterprises provide decent work and economic growth, which helps meet goal number 8. They can also address a variety of SDGs. For example, Live Green in Europe puts on events such as music festivals and fashion shows. They are designed to provide lifestyle ideas to help fight climate change. Businesses can balance making money and helping the environment. And final page, you can do it. Today's generation of youth is the largest ever. There are almost 2 billion young people on the planet. Each one can be a powerful change maker. By working together, this group can save the world. Are you ready to take action? Reflect. What could the world look like in 2030 if the Sustainable Development Goals are achieved? What if they are not? Are you interested in any of the people, groups, or projects you read about in this book? Find out more about them. How could you help the environment in your own community? Are there natural areas or animals that need protection? How could you get more information? What skills or abilities do you have to offer? Action Plan. Just like the UN created the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, you can make your own action plan. Helping the environment begins with steps like the ones listed below. What is one action you could take today? Future Goals. Helping the environment and working toward the UN's other goals does not end in 2030. Worldwide efforts must be ongoing. The SDGs follow in the footsteps of the Millennium Development Goals. These 8 goals were enacted in the year 2000. They focused on poverty, education, social equality, health, the environment, and global partnerships. They helped shape the later SDGs. Progress will need to be kept up if the current goals succeed. If there is still more work to be done, today's youth will be the leaders who decide the next steps. So to finish off, some of the things you can do to start helping the environment today and help saving the world today are: make more use of affordable and clean energy, use power bars that can be turned off when not using the items plugged into them, or research how you can use renewable energy at home or at school instead of older sources. For climate change, encourage your family and friends to live sustainably now instead of waiting until it's too late, and reduce your carbon footprint by taking public transportation, biking, or walking instead of driving a car. For a life below water, buy ocean-friendly products and foods, find reusable options to replace single-use plastic items, and hold a cleanup day in a coastal area. And for life on land, limit the amount of trash you make and recycle whatever you can, plant trees, and eat local sustainable foods.